Hi, my name is Kayla. I am a working mum in the Macarthur region and I am a mum of three beautiful little boys. My youngest son Heath is in and out of hospital quite often. He's got a rare genetic condition called 1q21.1 distal deletion syndrome. He's currently at a few different hospitals depending on the severity of his condition at the time, and he currently has an ileostomy bag. So we knew that something was a little bit different about Heath from the moment he was born. And so we were very fortunate to have a great medical team around us that supported us. Unfortunately for us, during that process of finding the diagnosis, we were in and out of several different hospitals. And then once the diagnosis was given to him, it opened up another category of a whole bunch of new specialists, and it kind of felt like we were starting again. So I remember last year when Heath was having his ileostomy or his stoma fitted onto his stomach. He was so poorly at this stage. He was 4.5, he weighed 12 kilos. It was an emergency surgery, so it wasn't a planned surgery for us. And so he didn't have a Supertee. Even though we'd thankfully been introduced to it, we didn't have access to it. So he's laying in bed with tubes out of his nose, a stoma that wasn't working. He was laying there with nothing on, completely exposed. Doctors coming in and out, nurses coming in and out, touching him like he wasn't even a person, because they're doing their job. And he just looked at me, he's like, "Mum, I just want everyone to stop. I want my blanket. I want to be warm." And I'm thinking, I've got nothing for you. Like, I need you to be here and be accessible for these doctors. And then one of the doctors came in because he was unfortunately declining quite rapidly. And she's just put on a pair of gloves and she stuck her finger in his stoma. And he screamed in so much pain. And I'm just standing there like, what? Like what am I meant to do as a mum? How am I meant to help him? And so thankfully, about an hour later, Dad's walked in, and Dad's come from home because he stayed the night with the other two kids, and he's come with Bug's Supertee. And he's like, it was the smallest thing to be able to keep him private and controlled in such a traumatic process for us. It's really overwhelming as a mum, knowing that the child that you've given birth to's life isn't going to look how you think that it's going to look. So when Heath was diagnosed, it wasn't just his life that was changing, it was everyone else's around him as well. So that took so much time from our other two children, we took time from work, we took time from our family, and that was replaced with hospital stays and with long trips and with a lot of expenses as well. And now, I look at everything in hindsight, and although I'm very grateful, you just feel ripped off. You've lost control over the life that you thought you would have for your child, and that's replaced with a lot of uncertainty. Handling it is, again, very multifaceted. I am very fortunate that I have a beautiful family that support me. I took a lot of support from my mum and from my husband, and from groups with children that had similar diagnosis or similar families that were in and out of hospital. And you'd be surprised of how many friends you make when you're in a hospital, when you're in, a 4 or 2 bed share space. The mum next to you becomes your best friend, really. With Heath going in and out of hospital quite regularly, he was given a Marvel Edition Supertee. We were actually really fortunate that that was delivered to us at home, and I knew that the package was coming because I'd already been linked in with Supertee from another family. And so when that delivery came, I obviously got my phone out and I quickly hit record, and his brothers were next to him and I could see him open it. He was already like, "Wow, what is this? It comes in such a beautiful box." And he's pulled it open and his little eyes have just like popped out of his head. And his brothers are like, "Wow, that's amazing." And once I explained what the Supertee does for him and that he could wear that every time he goes to hospital and doesn't have to take off any of his clothes or feel like he's exposing himself, he was so, so happy. It just gave him so much more control over a situation that we don't have control over. Being a part of the Supertee family is something that comes really easily. You're amongst people who are in similar situations, even if your stories aren't the same. You're understood and you're heard, you get to have a laugh and you get to make things a little bit lighter in heavy situations. On the other side, you have people helping you through those really heavy situations that don't ask those questions, that you don't want to spend extra time trying to explain. So it's a great environment to be a part of. So when Supertee put the call out to ask for 400 people to help with a campaign to raise money for our little kids in hospitals, it was a no-brainer. I really hope that you personally never have to experience having your little one in hospital. Being a family that has had a child that continues to be in and out of hospital, it is one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to go through. So all we're asking you to do is sign up today. We're asking you to donate a few dollars. Ask your teammates, ask your footy mates, chat to your friends, skip your coffee and donate towards Supertee. You'd be surprised at the difference that you can make to the lives of our little kids that are fighting the biggest battles.